As we get into the mulligan phase of Game 5 in this series. It is a best of 5, so the winner of this game will win this series. Early start Firefly available, Candle Shot available for Roger. Throws away Play Dead, and instead is rewarded with 2 Witchwood Grizzlies. Now, Witchwood Grizzlies, fantastic card. You can stop your opponent getting through you, because they are taunt minions. Now, they might not be big taunt minions because Red might have a lot of cards in his hand at the time. But the reason why having Witchwood Grizzly in your hand is important is it means you're not going to draw it from some of those recruit mechanics that are available later, which means you can guarantee yourself pulling minions that are going to be able to charge and be able to wreck face, as it were, and put your opponent to bed. Speaking of charge, instead we have Rush available from Houndmaster Shaw there as well. An excellent addition to Hunter. It's actually very difficult to remove the body of Houndmaster Shaw, and I've seen it so many times just survive on turn 4, and suddenly it becomes extremely difficult, unless you have any hard removal, to get rid of Shaw off the board, because minions are just placed in front of him. And Red hasn't really found that early game that I said. He didn't find his Wild Growth. He does have Nourish. Whispering Woods is there. And as far as I'm aware, no Unleash the Hounds in Roger's deck. So no way to compete with a Whispering Woods. But a Witchwood Grizzly does put a little bit of a blockade, as Nourish plus an Arcane Tyrant is instead the decision from Red. Just to get something on the board, but that is Houndmaster Shaw surviving now. That means that any minion from Roger's hand has Rush. So this Arcane Tyrant can just be gobbled down by the Firefly and the Witchwood Grizzly. And you take that opportunity. If you get an opportunity for your minion to attack on your turn after playing it, of course you're going to take it. Okay, it's only a 3/6. But a 3/6 is enough in this matchup. Roger quite far ahead now at this point. He needs to find a little bit of an oomph. And Spreading Blade, a very defensive play. And I kind of feel like if you give the Recruit Hunter time, if you give them that chance to get to those cards, the Oozlings, for example. Oozling plus Play Dead. It's probably going to mean you're dead. It's probably going to mean game over. No one was really sure what Recruit Hunter was going to look like. People thought it was a bit of a meme, but it is a mean deck instead of a meme. It is very difficult to face up against. When it draws well, it's so powerful. And actually, I do enjoy any mechanic that can draw cards from your games, big powerful minions that aren't meant to necessarily attack face on their turn, and giving them the ability to. That's pretty fun. And powerful as well. So Roger, both Witchwood Grizzlies on the board. Again, it has Rush. So you can now deal with some of these Scarabs. But I'm trying to wonder how Red is going to win. At some point, I guess he's thinking this turn, he goes for Whispering Woods plus Soul of the Forest. And you say, right, this is my comeback. Let's hope my opponent maybe leaves a board, leaves something up. Then I use Violet Teacher, I use Power of the Wild. And I'm able to break through what Roger's put onto the board. But the fact that this Houndmaster Shaw hasn't been answered has allowed Roger just to kind of escalate out of control in this game. And edge closer towards a victory. But he's definitely not there. He is far away from it now at this point. He needs one of those recruit mechanics. Using a Hunter's Mark very aggressively here. Just makes things a little bit more difficult for Red. And as expected, here's the turn that we thought was going to be coming. The last-ditch attempt to get back into the game, perhaps. Malfurion being drawn. Oh, wow. And then on the other side, Deathstalk Rexar is there as well. And this is just going to clear up the board that Red has made so comfortably. When you get given this opportunity, of course you're taking it. You are so comfortable now as Roger. You don't need your hero power. You don't need to be chunking your opponent down for 2 because you know the later this game gets, the more likely you are to win. When you start finding those big bad boys that are in your deck. But Red has fought back relatively well. But unfortunately, he needs to now contest with a Builder Beast. And whilst he has removed Shaw, finally, which is a very good thing to be able to eventually do. Maybe he could have hoped for that 4 turns earlier. The beasts that are available, as I say that, the Silver Vanguard's found, plus Play Dead as well. We're probably going to see something like... there she is. Winter Wisp being available. And now that means Charged Devil Saws are going to be brought out. King Crush could be brought out. Red's hopes in this series are fading away now at this point. And Token Druid was an interesting inclusion. When you look at the success of some of the other Druids that are available, maybe Tread could have gone for something else. Maybe something like the Hadronox Druid that we already saw for Roger. But with Malfurion being available plus a Power of the Wild, this certainly isn't over. There is still potential that Tread can kind of push through and maybe kind of just ignore what's coming on the board from Roger and hope that these taunts do work. If he can find, if he can keep a board like this and find his second Savage Roar, then that's scary. That is very, very, very scary. And Roger is running out of resources. Double Flanking Strike available. Fantastic cards. Don't get me wrong. It can clean up the Violet Teacher very comfortably. There's the first Charged Devil Saw of the game. A card that I don't think any of us expected to be so heavily influenced, so heavily in a meta as it is now. But it's doing its work. And suddenly that big old board that Red was hoping would be ignored and the taunts would do their job isn't quite getting there. But he does have Power of the Wild, he does have Savage Roar, Swipe. How much damage can he push here? A considerable amount, actually. And he's just hoping he can draw into lethal now. He has 3 damage per turn from his hero power. He has a swipe in hand. If he draws a second swipe, he has lethal available. However, with Dire Frenzy, Hunter's Mark, is there any way that Roger can manipulate this for his own lethal? I don't think so. Either way, he's going to build a beast first. If you Dire Frenzy your Devil Saw, that puts him up to 10. Gives you 16 damage without the Death Rattle. The Death Rattle then, Hunter's Mark, and you go into face. That gives you another 10. Doesn't quite get you there. It's actually 1 off, I believe. So instead, you just clean up and you hope. You hope and you pray. A swipe from Red finishes the game, but a Wild Growth is not there, but a Wild Growth can look for another card. And Red is searching, and he's searching quickly. Blood must be pumping through his veins at this point. He knows there's a chance. Spellstone is not it, though. Do you go for the fake, maybe? Swipe face and then point something else at face as well. Is there a way he can survive? Spellstone onto the 5-2. No. You go up to 14. You swipe the 3C. Okay, you're alive on board. 13 damage available. Dire Frenzy's there. Bish Bash Bosh. Roger takes this game 3-2. It was back and forth. And Red gave it a bloomin' good effort. But unfortunately, he does fall. And Roger, with his Recruit Hunter, finds the final game. An incredible matchup. An incredible performance. Congratulations to Roger.